Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards, your logical source for Star Trek information. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm taking leave. I've got months saved up. Off I go
You do actually,
to
probably.
investigate those nightmares I had since I was a child. Retcon, retcon. We're talking about Spock, sort of. Well, yeah, we are, because Spock is the thing of this season, season 2, and he wasn't in. Well, he was, but he wasn't. Let's talk about Spock's, the great Spock, portrayed by Len Nimoy, and then Zachary Quinto. What did you think of the Spock stuff in episode 1? And were you surprised he did not show up in modern Spock, present
I am
time?
not surprised that he didn't show up in
Okay.
this episode at all. This episode didn't go at all the way I anticipated either, but yeah, I don't expect to see Spock for.
Although, as soon as I realized it was called Brother, I was like, oh crap, he's going to be in the episode. So I'm glad it didn't. I was actually good.
Yeah,
Good.
it should have maybe been called Oh Brother. But anyway, um, yeah, I expect him to show up episode 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah.
I can't see it being too soon.
Yeah.
But what we did see of him, the young Spock, I gotta say, Spock's probably one of those characters in Star Trek that's been played by the most actors.
Yeah.
Because there was quite a few actors in Star Trek 3. Then you got Quinto.
Oh god, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
forgot about that. Yeah.
anyway, so another kid playing Spock, and it was actually interesting seeing kind of the family dynamic there,
Yep.
and how Spock basically he felt left out. The way he was staring at his mother reading Michael the book, he looked like a kid that just felt left out. Like now
Huh.
she's the favorite. I'm getting no attention,
Interesting.
and I think that leads into what happens because there was quite a point made of they. Sarek said that he didn't really take to Michael at all, and Michael said he did for a time, but something she did
Yes.
and she doesn't think that she can fix it. So
And she also said, yeah, I was the reason that we haven't got back in contact. Not him.
yes,
Wow, yeah, I love how we didn't pick up on some of that stuff. See, I took it a little bit differently, but I love your interpretation because what is going on in Spock's head? Like, he seemed very. I was assuming that they specifically showed the young Spock when they were talking about the nightmares, that sort of retcon back in that, when he was younger, his nightmares, didn't know what to make of them. His mum said they were nightmares, and he didn't have them after a time. Also, that's linking sort of, he had the Vija flashes, and then he went to find Vija. So it's a nice little link there. My assumption is that maybe he was going to see her after a nightmare, and then she was with Burnham, and they was like, oh. So that I kind of got that slight connection. It's a bit of a reach, I guess, but I like that being left out thing. I mean, well, it doubles down when, if you think about what we've seen in Discovery, boy, Sarek deals with Burnham all the time. Comparison to Sarek and Spock. I mean, the relationship is completely, radically different. So yeah, if you look at Golden Child, he clearly wants to deal with Burnham. Spock, it's like, Spock, he's my son. John
he's part
Babel.
Vulcan. He's part Vulcan. He doesn't need attention.
You know what I mean? Like, to see now the Journey to Babel, and then how much, because actually Sarek was really nice to Burnham. I had great chemistry actually in this episode. I was really like, the writing was better. It wasn't as, that's it. Okay, overall question: did they respect or disrespect the Spock so far? People are wondering.
In my opinion, I would say that so far they've maintained the respect for Spock's character.
Okay.
But that being said, we haven't heard the whole story. We don't know everything that's happened or what is going to happen. So we got to play that by ear. But so far, I feel no disrespect to the character. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's they Pike clearly respects Spock a lot, and so the only sense is via him, and you get this genuine sense of, yeah, he's talented, obviously he is. So therefore, when you say Burnham's talented, the tone doesn't feel like she's better than him, which is what they could have done. Or Burnham's the older sister, she knows better, she's smarter. It's like, no, Spock though, no. So yeah, there was a fine balance there. And I did think, and I said this on a previous video, or future in the release order, that this should have been the season 1 first episode. It was a better beginning, and just those 2 or 3 minutes at the start where you see Burnham as a, being brought in for the first time, and her interaction with the family dynamic, that was how they should have played season 1. That was a better introduction for me personally, because you say Spock's got a sister. No, he hasn't. Oh, yes, he has. That one contextual see them together set up the dynamic better than any non-whatever done before. So that I thought was real nice. And you can imagine almost that if, Cybok, I would love, hoping they're going to mention Cybok at some point. That child also is in the house, / is almost leaving the house, / whatever.
Not necessarily, because that was from Sarek's previous marriage to the princess. So maybe the princess has custody, or something else. Somebody else is taking care of Cybok. I don't think he was raised in the same house.
Well, Spock did say we grew up together. I'm pretty sure that was a line in 5.
That I'd have to go check. I'm not sure, but okay, maybe you're right. But
obviously, it's one of those another weird retcon back ins, but it's nice that then Cybok being, because whatever you say, they all gonna look towards this mother figure. Sarek is who Sarek is, whatever, and so now they've got this adopted daughter. She's getting all the human attention. She's a human. She can relate to Amanda better. Amanda gets a friend. So now I can imagine Cybok getting even less attention. He's a special... he is smarter than Spock. That was explicitly said. And it's like, okay, fine. And now Spock's getting less attention. So you can see how she's kind of breaking the family by coming in at this point. But Amanda's probably quite happy. Because, yeah, it's a human. Quite nice to deal with. And that's obviously before... That's before she's been indoctrinated by Vulcans. So she's still much more pure and gets to have a... And also a daughter. I mean, a daughter's pretty cool for a mum. Yeah. Two sons and both Vulcan and a human's daughter. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And one of the most important connections with a child is that emotional connection. When you have a Vulcan child who the father's saying, you're Vulcan. Amanda, time and time again, every incarnation we've seen of Amanda keeps reminding him, you're also part human. You need to remember that. It's part of who you are. And I think that's also her way of trying to emotionally connect with him as a son, to have some kind of emotional connection. So when Michael comes in, who's a human, it's much easier for her to start to relate to her on an emotional level than Spock. So it might not be the case that she does spend more time with Michael, but as from Spock's perception as a child, he does have feelings. He does have emotions. I can see how, like I myself have a few kids, and you can tell sometimes when you're paying attention to one that another one might feel a little left out. You can get those visual cues, and that's kind of what I got from that scene. So I thought it was interestingly played, and then Michael's explanation of, or lack thereof, of what happened between the two and the divide, that they hadn't talked for years, thought she would never talk to him again, that she said at one point. Even Sarek said that. I didn't think I'd talk to him again. Yeah, it was very interesting. And then they were speculating, where is Spock? He's probably dedicated himself to making sure the Enterprise is fixed up. And then we don't find out till the end that he actually took leave. So I don't know. And then we get to see his quarters on the Enterprise, which, again, very reminiscent of the TOS one with the red decor. And anyway,
yeah, I did like that both his quarters on Enterprise and his quarters on his room in his own home were very minimalist. I thought they were both functionally Vulcan, so I appreciated the attempt to not make it big. It was big space, but not big stuff. I thought that was quite well done. And what did you think then? I don't like the modern Doctor Who for multiple reasons. But one of the most annoying things is that they retconned the Master to always have been hearing this drum beat since he was a child, and yet every incarnation we see him, it's clearly not in his brain. He's clearly not been made insane, and yet we see him retconned as a child with it. And that would obviously influence everything after. And it was a very lazy, hurtful retcon, whereas they clearly just said, he's generated now in that new form, he's got the whatever drums. So as soon as I heard, from a child, I was thinking, are they going to say, forever, Spock's been tormented by these visions of whatever? It's like, I mean, what? they're now adding something definitive to this character that he's having, Red Angel horrible flashbacks his entire life. Luckily, said they went away, so it's kind of like, okay, you can have a childish nightmare. It's like they were close in making a character-altering retcon. I was like, okay, you didn't quite. You had a bit of restraint there. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The one thing that confused me a little bit was when we first get introduced to him, how he does the holograph thing with the big dragon, which I know you haven't seen it yet, but Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within has creatures very similar to that. It was almost like they cut and pasted, basically.
Wait, it looked like Kukulkan.
Kukulkan, yeah, a little bit.
I feel like
it was very dragon-esque for sure.
I feel like that might be the implication of that scene is that he was using the drawing, which I thought was quite a nice little piece of cool sci-fi. The drawing to express himself through the nightmares. So I'm hoping that visual is something that's going to be later on. Like that's what he was seeing.
That's what I can imagine. Yeah.
Like it would have been too on the head if it was an angel. So I kind of hope that this is part of it. If they see Kukulkan, that'd be kind of cool. First appearance 10 years old. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So that scene confused me a little bit. That's going to hopefully be cleared up by the end of the season with these nightmares and visions he's been having. So that doesn't bother me so much. I think it was almost an emotional expression of them bringing Michael into the family. Like, I'm mad about this, but I'm not going to say I'm mad or show that I'm mad, except for look at what I drew. Has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. No, that was a literal interpretation, and absolutely it was nicely done. But I hope there's that little deeper. But yeah, it like we said in our full review, this is a well played piece. They took their time in character beats. They took the time to sell up, and it was a genuinely well told story with genuine. This episode had character beats. Lots of them. So what season 1 was missing, and it elevates it strongly because of that. So I certainly appreciated that, and we got some decent Spock. What do you think about his end? You actually got to hear him. He had his personal log. He hid the holograms in his audio log. What do you think about that whole bit? You got to hear Spock.
I was underwhelmed. I expected a little bit more. He doesn't sound like Spock. He sounds too emotional in his recordings. In my opinion, it was also interesting the way he said that this could very likely be my last log aboard the Enterprise. Like he's anticipating not coming back. So I wasn't thrilled by the ending, by those audio logs at all. You would think you'd have some kind of code on your personal logs so that not just anybody can access them.
It was weird. You just could walk in. It's like there's a high-ranking officer of one of the top ships of the fleet. You just you didn't need the scene of Pike giving him command codes and all that crap. We didn't need that, but it's a little bit. I think that's probably it. I think it was reasonably well done. It's a decent setup. Young Spock I think was okay. A bit very emotional face. I saw a lot on his face. And I'm wondering if we're going to see more flashbacks. Because, what did I say? What did we both say about season 1? All of the first 2 episodes should be flashbacks.
The first 2 episodes should be in flashbacks, yes, absolutely.
And so if we're seeing a concurrent story of the young... Because this is the question, that this is the stupid question to make such a character like a Spock sister. Well, okay, then show us well-crafted, well-scripted flashbacks where they develop this child relationship. Because it'd be fun to see the concurrent... That builds up the relationship, which we didn't and couldn't see. And then when they meet each other, we have this context. And see how they sort of combined, then something broken apart, and maybe even see them get older, and we see sort of iterations of them. That'd be kind of cool, and develop why this is a thing that's never brought up. This is a thing that they're not proud of. This is a thing that happened. They're both so ashamed of their actions, they couldn't talk about it. I mean, that's a reason to never mention her. If you're ashamed of... If she's done things to you, personally, that have hurt you beyond belief... Why would you mention your sister? That said, Saru instantly says, "Isn't your brother on the Enterprise?" So
isn't your brother science officer? And he called her out. He said, "I want her coming down to the transporter room with me," kind of to be a dick, I think. And then he's like, "I smell anticipation, or you seem apprehensive," and she's like, "No, I'm just analyzing the situation." And he takes another sniff and is like, Yeah, no, you can sense a little bit more than that. So I thought that was both cruel and interesting on his part to include her to come down to the transporter room when they thought he was beaming over. But
the script had some complexity to it. I will give them that. I'll give them that. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing Spock. You say episode 4. I'm going to say episode 6 are going to be restrained. We might see him by episode 4, but not actually meet to episode 6. Like a mid-season sort of thing.
Ooh, I think that's too long. I think that's too long for the fans, but we'll see.
Well, it should be about the main storyline.
True.
Whatever, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, if you want to see more videos like this, as well as our regular content, you can help us out by clicking the Patreon link down in the description below, or heading over to patreon.com/Trekyards. Also, there's other links down there as well to our Teespring store. We got lots of fantastic Trekyards merchandise that you guys can check out and own. And also our Eagle Moss linked. If you click the link, you can head over to the Eagle Moss site, pick up some fantastic cool ships, add them to your cart, and on checkout, use the discount code Trekyards and save yourself some money. So all that helps us out. Don't forget to also donate if you can at PayPal. Links down there, and the donate button on the trekyards.com site. And of course, our live streams, super chats are always helpful.
We talk to you guys, and you guys can talk to us, ask us questions, and comment, and let us know what you think. Because Spock is quite a beloved character, so let us know what you think of Spock. His teasing, like, it's a clever thing to tease him, but also show him explicitly.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's actually quite clever considering. And yeah, you guys just share this video anyway you think people would enjoy it. We're looking at every episode of Discovery and all the facets of it to break them down, analyze them. Like, you might not have thought as much about it until we sit down and do this together, and it's about the positive, the negative, just a balanced opinion, because if it's good, we'll call it out. Things are bad, we'll call it out. We should be fair, and I think we've been that today, and we're going to continue to be for Discovery on to episode 2. So until next time, guys, I am Commander Coggins.
And I'm Captain Foley.
I'm going to take some leave. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.